back to Conscious Migration. Today, I want to touch on a brief experience I had while under the influence of a psychedelic medicine. And yes, I tend to use the word medicine because we need to remember that these are not just drugs to get high on, even though many people approach them with only that in mind, which really is kind of a waste. This is an experience that took place around 8 years ago, give or take, and it's one that I'm still integrating into my life. It was so profound. So I'd been tripping on LSD with the girl I was dating at the time. This was a woman I was very much in love with, again, at the time. After a full day of playing in the foothills of Colorado and dancing and laughing, we began to doze off on her bed, and I was laying on my back, and she was nestled into my chest with my arm around her. She fell asleep first, and I was just beginning to drift in and out of wakefulness as the chemicals slowly wore off. So I'm just lying there, kind of pulling out of the trip, and I'm in a state of perfect serenity. The love I felt for this woman was just pouring out of me. I was engulfed in this perfect state of bliss from the depths of my heart, and my heart was just wide open for her. I've only felt a love this deep a few times in my life, and at that moment, I existed in a state of pure perfection. As I'm laying there, eyes closed, just soaking in this incredible bond between us, something shifted. And out from underneath my arm, she vanished. She vanished into thin air. I could no longer feel her. I could no longer sense her in any way. It was like my arm was now wrapped around empty space. I'm not suggesting that this woman literally vanished. I mean, as far as I know, I'm not saying that that's, if someone else had been present in the room, that they would have watched her dematerialize or something. And I knew this. I knew this was a temporary illusion created by the medicine still rolling through my system. But for all means and purposes, in that moment, from my perspective, I was suddenly alone on that bed, all by myself. And here's the magic part of this. The love I was engulfed in remained all the same. And now I'm just laying there in love. I realized that this deep love I was feeling wasn't like emanating from this woman. And, even though logically most of us know that doesn't really make sense, like the love we feel in our relationships is somehow some actual substance or energy that is literally projecting out of our partner like heat waves or something. But that is almost always the story we tell ourselves, isn't it? This psychedelic shift of perspective I was temporarily experiencing, where my partner just vanished into the ether, was directly showing me how love truly is something that simply is. It's a reality that we pick and choose when and where we allow ourselves to experience this. This odd effect only lasted a few minutes for me, but it continued to stick with me, and ultimately it changed how I viewed my relationship with love itself. And in turn, it changed how I viewed my relationships with everyone else. We're so domesticated to accept so many strange to flat out unhealthy ideas about how intimate relationships should work in our lives. So this is a truth that I am years later still working on processing and integrating. It's a radical notion when you start to face the truth that you are in a state of love all the time. And rather, we are the ones who shut ourselves off from it for a million different reasons. Like, well, I shouldn't feel love now. My partner is angry at me, and they're not giving me the love I'm used to getting. Or, I don't deserve love. That's a huge one. We tell ourselves we don't deserve love all the time. We tell ourselves there's 1,000 obstacles standing between us and the love we wish we could feel. And you will evolve into one of the few rare, powerful individuals when you learn to allow yourself to simply be in the state of love. People will find they no longer know how to control you when you can do this, because when you begin to approach love as something you always have access to, an energy, if you will, then we begin to stop all this obsessive searching for the right person who will give their love to us. We stop relying solely on our partners to feed us the love we crave, the love we desperately need. So this can be abstract for us, for sure. When this happens, you enter a degree of independence where people can no longer manipulate you with a sort of, well, if you don't give me this, if you don't do that, then I won't give you my love today. So tapping into this truth will change your relationships into a much healthier connection. Of course, also be warned, if you go down this path, it also might destroy some of your relationships, specifically the relationships where the other person feels they need to have this control over you. When a person is in command of their own peace of mind and they've learned they can access the boundlessness of their own heart, it's very hard to keep a person like that under your thumb. So I invite you to experiment with this. When you meditate, focus on the love you've felt throughout your life. What I do sometimes is I'll remember how much love I felt in one of my past relationships, and I'll just sit with that sensation, and I'll drop all the narrative around that love, the story about the girl I felt that love for. In fact, I'll forget about the girl entirely, and I'll try to just isolate my attention to the love I experienced. Let the rest of the details fall away and just sit with the love. See what arises for you when you do this. Because at first you're likely going to discover all those narratives we've been domesticated by over the years about how love works, or when you deserve to feel love and where that love is coming from. It's all going to change. It's a process of allowing all of those stories to fall by the wayside while you stay focused on the core, the love at the center of all these experiences. Simply practice existing in love. It will change your life by making you one of the most powerful people on the planet, because your notions about what makes a person truly powerful will also begin to evolve. So, something to chew on. Until next time, I wish you all peace and love. You all deserve it. Take care.